I'm sorry, this is the only mask I could find. Hello, welcome back. This is a reselling channel. Every now and then I do deep dives into things that sell, and usually they're like what we call bolos or be on the lookout for, but they can range from anything. But today I thought just do a theme, and it's of course Halloween. So this video, it's not technically about Halloween, but it does kind of like feel like perfect timing to talk about it. And it's basically like weird brands to sell and to be on the lookout for. And I think it's just kind of right to kind of put them on around this time of year, so you can kind of get like a hint. So it's technically not Halloween, but it does kind of like overlap with certain features. So yeah, just taking clothing for example, I want to talk about goths. Goths are a subculture influenced heavily by music, and they have the whole identity surrounded by this culture. And yeah, it's I've known quite a few goths actually, and they're always like absolutely lovely. People think, oh god, they're so scary. They're not, they're bloody lovely. Yeah, and one of the things that I've noticed is that clothing is actually quite expensive, particularly around that kind of style and around that kind of culture. So some of the brands, I'm just going to kind of go through some of them. This isn't all of them, this is just some that I've kind of like found. The goth kind of culture, and then you've got like a certain emo culture, and they kind of are influenced by each other, but they're not the same. Okay, so an interesting one that I thought I just want to cover really quickly is keyword searches. So there are some specific brands which to be on the lookout for, but there's some really obvious brands. I mean, I've just pulled up here like Topshop, Per Una, some Joe Browns, but the people who have listed these items, who have sold them for quite a lot of money, considering what they are, they've used the word goth, gothic, steampunk. That's another keyword. Yeah, emo. Usually leather, velvet. New Rock is the one that immediately came to mind. They kind of specialise in shoes and boots. When I was younger, I was always like, oh my god, they're amazing. I could never pull them off because my friend, she used to have like New Rocks like that were like that. The platforms were huge. I was like, how are you walking in them, first off? And then secondly, we had to climb the stairs to go to college. I was like, how are you walking up the stairs? It's like, Cupcake Cult. This is a new one that I've never heard of. Yeah, so they've got like an emo-y kind of twist, but also some anime kind of like thrown in, and they've adapted it to like different clothing. So, oh, I have heard of this brand, Killstar. Yeah, Killstar they've been around for a bit, and then they've done quite a lot of stuff. I've heard about them before, and they do quite. I think they were one of the first to do bigger sizes as well. Oh look, they've got leggings, trousers, velvet leggings. Demonia, that's like boots and stuff. That was pretty surprising. Oh, this is a popular one that I always find. Irregular Choice. Okay, so it's quite rare, but they do weird and wonderful stuff. And I've seen some like Alice in Wonderland kind of thing, and like some like gothic kind of inspired. It's crazy. The heels on them, what they managed to do with the heels, it's insane. Just check out Irregular Choice. It's like mind-blowing. The next stop on our weird and wonderful brand tour, I'm going to talk about dolls. Just because we've had the Barbie movie, we don't need to talk about that. Kind of doll is the Living Dead dolls. These are kind of a bit infamous. I'm not even going to go into. I'm going to put up some comps around here because they kind of freak me out. They are so kind of like, oh. But they're really collectible, and they can go for like between £50 and £100. Some can go for a lot more, and if you've got collections and limited editions, obviously they're going to go for a lot more. But I feel like people kind of know what they are, and if they see them, they'll be like, oh, let me check on eBay. That's how weird they are. I think Monster High dolls you can get away, and people will just say, oh, it's just like a Barbie. You know, they'll put it to one side, whereas the Living Dead dolls are a bit more weird. This next one I really want to talk about because I have not seen the movie, but I'm going to see it. It is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. They're freaky. They're killer clowns. and they come from outer space. They're aliens. Like, terrifying. There's like all-encompassing fears into one thing. Yeah, it's a cult film. It's a cult gory kind of like B-movie film, and it's like, yeah. They've done all sorts of. I saw a poster online sell for like, I think it was like, was it £200? Like an original poster. I was like, what? Anyway, yeah. So the DVD, there's a DVD that goes quite well. Oh, a Blu-ray that does quite well. But the dolls do quite well as well. Like they've got like toys. I think the Funko Pops are about £40, and there's some in like neon colours or like fluorescent-y kind of colours, which are quite okay. And if there's one kind of toy brand, you've got normal like Mattel, Hasbro, Simba, that kind of thing. One thing probably to look out for is NECA. This is NECA. This is NECA. Yeah, so that's NECA. This is NECA. They do a lot of like pop culture kind of stuff, and a lot of like old age Hammer horror stuff, and obviously Gizmo from the 80s. So yeah, they do, and usually the quality is like a little bit higher. So these are more like display toys, like figurines and statuettes and stuff. Horror VHS and DVD. So I've already talked about like the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and it blows my mind what people are willing to pay for. And there is kind of a resurgence of people getting rid of their streaming services and sticking with DVDs, because streaming services are knocking off all these classics, and people are like, what are you doing? So people are like, I think it's like, what they called, they're trying to save the DVD. I think it's like a movement, isn't it? But yeah, one of the famous things is like VHS horror tapes. And if you watch Cole at Reseller Blueprint, his whole bag, he does a lot of other things, but like he's got a really good eye for VHSs, and he talks about some of the horror ones. He's really knowledgeable on it. X rentals, the big boxes, so like ones of like Scream and Exorcist and all the classic kind of like slashers, they're always a good bet. Killer Nuns, and another one recently was like the Driller Killer. It's all these rubbish kind of like gory horror movies that like B movies or like gore movies that were released like in the back of the video shop, which no one was allowed. Demon Cop. Quite find that funny. Okay, this is a really good one. Tremors, with the tremor coming out of the box, devouring the box, DVD box. That's really cool. On the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's got like the DVD in the box, and I like that. It's good. I don't like but it's quite cool. Okay, I want to talk about video games now. Yes, there are horror video games. There's an abundance of them. There's loads. I think the most famous kind of like horror-ish kind of video game at the moment is Resident Evil. I think everybody, like normal people, know about that, and yeah, some of them are quite sought after. I want to talk about Silent Hill. That is probably one of the biggest in terms of monetary flips you could probably make, because a lot of people kind of like, it passed under the radar a lot, and then over the past like 5 years it's just ballooned to the point where it's ridiculous. $129.99, that stings. And you can get the Silent Hill collection, and that's released on PS2 for £140. Also kind of stings a bit. Yeah, Silent Hill Shattered Memories on PS2, £175, that's how rare it is. That's one I saw at the Car Boot a few weeks ago. Hell Night, which is a PS1 game. I've one that has the Haunting Ground, £100. I've actually got that myself. I might put it up. Yeah, Silent Hill Origins. You've seen the theme here. Silent Hills has a higher sell-through rate. D, an acclaimed survival horror game on the PS1. That's £80. Forbidden Siren. I've had the two. They are. If you get a chance to play it. But like, it's scary. I find it scary. But then again, I'm a bit of a wimp. Okay, one with quite a high sell-through rate is Splatterhouse on PlayStation 3. I can see this getting a bit kind of silly as people start collecting PS3s a lot more. Right now it's averaging around £40, so it's not that bad, £40 to £50. But I missed out on one for £15 like a few months ago at a charity shop, but it was only the disc. So, but yeah, I can see that becoming a bit of a bolo in the future. So just keep an eye out for Splatterhouse, like Breakables and Homeware. And I just want to quickly go over stuff. I think Emma Bridgewater stuff I'm obsessed with. I think I've I think I've put up so much Emma Bridgewater stuff, like Halloween-y stuff. I think people use them all year round. I've got a bowl that I use all year round, and it's got like little ghosts and little like mummies on them and stuff like that. It's really cute. Okay, so there's a Halloween pumpkin vase, and Moorcroft is known for doing vases. Usually the like bulbous ones at the bottom and that kind of go up at the top. And you wouldn't think it was a Moorcroft, but it's a vase painted as a pumpkin, and it's gorgeous. It looks more like something you find out at TK Maxx, but it's not. It's Moorcroft. Please double check, because it's like you've thrown away a right bolo. £225 pre-owned. Kind of crazy. Oh yeah, and if you see Disney traditions, which you think, oh, they're worth a little bit of something, but they're not like sought after. The Trick or Treat Disney traditions with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, they are worth $179.99. And oh yes, masks. I have to talk about Halloween mask. I think the biggest kind of like mask is obviously like Scream mask is kind of the one that, do you remember the one that kind of like inked blood? That's kind of popular at the moment. But Michael Myers Halloween masks, they are like really popular, and depending on which iteration is dependent on how much money you can get, basically. So there you have it. I know it's kind of like a whistle-stop tour of some really weird brands, but just think of keywords like goth, emo, steampunk, horror. Try and put them into listings, and if you've got any sort of like clothing that's got like made of satiny velvet, or like the style is more like Victorian or Renaissance or steampunky, or like a big trench coat leather jacket maybe you've got, or like, you know, just put it up with those keywords. You never know. And don't forget, if you do, after Halloween, take them back off again, because it's just a waste of space on your title page. And obviously Halloween's gone. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Happy Halloween.